Wraith of Injustice by Sarah J. Nilsson. This is the true story surrounding the death of Heidi Sue Dowland, born November 18, 1980, and tragically killed in a plane crash on January 13, 2019. Wraith of Injustice portrays the haunting and destructive consequences of injustice in the aftermath of the death of Heidi Sue Dowland. A wraith is a ghost that persists. In this episode 11, Anderson pleads guilty. There will be no trial. Here is his consent. Anderson pled guilty to count 1 of the indictment of involuntary manslaughter, a Class D felony offense. Here are the elements of involuntary manslaughter. Number 1, the defendant committed an act that might produce death. Number 2, the defendant acted with gross negligence. Gross negligence is defined as wanton or reckless disregard for human life. Number 3, defendant's act was the proximate cause of the death of the victim. Proximate cause is one that played a substantial part in bringing about the death, so that the death was the direct result or a reasonably probable consequence of the defendant's act. Number 4, the killing was unlawful. A killing is unlawful within the meaning of the above if it was neither justifiable nor excusable. Number 5, the defendant either knew that such an act was a threat to the lives of others or knew of the circumstances that would reasonably cause the defendant to foresee that such an act might be a threat to the lives of others. This plea comes with a maximum fine of $250,000 and a maximum term of imprisonment of 8 years or both, as well as a term of supervised release of 3 years, and a maximum term of probation is 5 years, including a minimum term of 1 year if probation is imposed. Regarding sentencing, the defendant's sentence shall not exceed 24 months imprisonment. In order to fulfill any restitution to Heidi's mother, sister, and kids, the U.S. Attorney's Office shall obtain Anderson's credit report. At the time of sentencing, the U.S. Attorney's Office shall dismiss counts 2 and 3 of the indictment. Furthermore, all monetary penalties, including restitution, shall be due immediately upon judgment, subject to immediate enforcement by the United States, and submitted to the Treasury Offset Program, so that any federal payment or transfer of returned property that Anderson receives may be offset and applied to federal debts. In this plea, Anderson admitted the following facts are true, and that if this matter were to proceed to trial, the United States could prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. On January 13, 2019, Anderson admitted to piloting the Piper PA-22 with Heidi Dowland, knowing he only had a student pilot certificate that did not permit him to fly with passengers. Furthermore, he admitted that his flight instructor had only endorsed him to fly a Cessna 182 and not a Piper PA-22. Anderson also admitted that his endorsement prohibited him from flying more than 50 miles. That day, he flew from Meadview to Kingman, 71 miles, and was headed from Kingman to Glendale when he crashed. That was another 177 miles. Anderson admitted to failing to replace the 2 fuel caps in Kingman. Lastly, Anderson admitted that when he obtained his student pilot certificate and medical in 2014, he knowingly failed to disclose his diabetes. This plea was entered on March 6, 2026. Following this, the plea agreement was lodged on May 5th, 2026. Here is the actual documents, including maximum penalties and agreements regarding sentencing, and Anderson's waiver of defenses and appeal rights. Anderson must cooperate fully with the U.S. Probation Office. Anderson entered this plea agreement voluntarily and agreed to be bound according to its provisions. Here's his signature on the agreements, signed March 5th, 2026. What follows next is the Magistrate Judge Deborah Fine's findings and recommendations following the hearing on May 5th, 2026. This case now goes to sentencing. On May 18, Anderson's lawyer filed a motion to continue sentencing from July 16, 2026. Another postponement. This was to allow Anderson sufficient time to complete the collection, development, and presentation of additional mitigation materials for the court's consideration at sentencing. Folks, as we await sentencing, I ask you, do you feel justice has been served for Heidi's family? Feel free to comment below. To be continued.